I will impact the world with the word of the Lord. I would expand on television so that people could be coming into the knowledge of the prophetic. And I will prophesy to, I gave some crazy number. He says, and the little finger is what's a little big challenge. That one thing, that little big challenge. I says, my little big challenge, that thing which is your challenge, but you can manage it, but it's just a nuisance just to remind you. I said, my little big challenge is putting everything in to organize everything. So he started asking me, he says, what are some of the things you want to do to touch the world? What's some things you want to do? I said, I want to touch the world for Christ. I want to empower people's lives. I want to multiply people. After about 5 things, he said, stop. He says, these are seminars that we give, and those seminars are $25,000 a pop, where he takes people, and there's a couple of hundred that meet, $25,000 each for 3 days. He takes them into some intense training. He says, I tell people to name the things that they want to do, He says, and most people are, I like to get all my bills paid. I like to get a new car. I like to get a new wardrobe. I like to have another house. I like to have a summer home. He says, you are starting at levels where people start at number 40 and 50. They don't get into 40 and 50 into touching the world. Because what they try to get you to understand that the reason you are here is to empower others. That's the only reason you're here. See, this whole thing about money is not about you being comfortable. It's about how many other success stories you can create. That's why you start working under supervision so you can make your supervisor successful. It's very simple. That's why you work under supervision so you can make your supervisor successful. And when you can't make your supervisor successful and then you stay on unemployment, you become a criminal, then what you do, you'll make a system successful, because then they put you in prison and you work for free labor. So you're here on the planet to make others successful. That's the only reason why you're here. Then, after you get to that place where you no longer need supervision, say with me, when I get to the place, like the ant, where I can work without supervision. And see, that's the success of the ant. When he tells us in Proverbs 6 and verse 6, it says, go to the ant, thou sluggard, consider her ways and be wise, which having no guide, listen prophets, listen house prophets, might be good that we're not streaming tonight, who having no guide, keep playing, overseer or ruler, which means that only sluggards have a guide, an overseer, and a ruler. Provide her meat in the summer and gather her food in the harvest. How long wilt thou sleep, O sluggard? When wilt thou arise out of thy sleep? Now the ant, here's the secret of wealth and prosperity. It's summed up in 2 words. Your ability to be diligent. The ant is diligent. And the second thing is your ability to work without supervision. That's why we tell you, when you do what you're told, you're a slave. When you do more than what you're told, you're a free man. Like we're going to get ready and take a poll. We've assigned people to different individuals that they're supposed to be prophets to. Did you call your person? Or were you waiting for us to tell you what time you need to call them? See, if you can't come to a place where you can work without supervision, then you're not ready for the wealth of the wicked. Because you're not thinking from high places. That's why the wealth of the wicked is laid up. I like that. Spiritual wicked's in high places. You're not operating from a high place. You're still operating from a low place, sluggard. When you're a sluggard, you're in a laid down position. You're not in a getting up position. See, you're supposed to come to a point in life that you don't have to be told what to do. Now we're still talking wealth and prosperity, right? We're still talking wealth and prosperity. So he says, yet a little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to sleep, so shall poverty come as one that traveleth, and thy want as an armed man. Okay, Bishop Jordan, then what are you saying to me here tonight? You're on the planet to make other people rich. When you get to the place, and the only reason why you're making your boss rich because you're trying to get rich yourself. But the reason it becomes miserable is because you're focusing more on you than focusing on what you're supposed to be giving out. It is easier to say, make me a blessing than give me a blessing. It is more blessed to than to, that's a system. Now, once I come to a place where I no longer am looking to make myself rich, but to make others rich, that's when I become rich. And that's why when it says, listen, look at what you're starting at. You want to empower other people. You want to put people in a franchise. You want to see people get homes. You want to give people the keys of knowledge. Listen what you're doing. You want to make other people rich. It says that's the only thing that makes sense to me. Because if they become rich, I have less things to pray for concerning them. Phones are ringing crazy. I know we're not streaming, so I don't know. These are, if they can just take the phones in the back. Thank you. Okay, thank you. Okay. So the key to wealth and prosperity is your ability, I live, to make more millionaires. That's what I'm living for. I want to turn out other millionaires. Now, most of you here are making your bosses millionaires, and that's the good thing. But you're only making one millionaire. Or making that company. What would ever happen if you get out of that and say, I'm now living to grow millionaires? Isn't that what Jesus did? He took 12 men that were successful businessmen and says, I will make you fishers of men. I'm going to make you more successful than you are already. Yes. And so I thought that exercise was very interesting. You've now got to get to the point where it's not really about you. And I can talk to you about that emptying out. I was not too long ago in a dark night of a soul. I'm just now beginning to see daylight again. Prophetess Connie. Just now able to see daylight again. Why? It's because I had to accept the fact that I had to stretch. Whenever you're in a hard time, it means you need to stretch. You got comfortable where you're at. I don't care if you say, Bishop.